League of Legends Champion Spotlight, featuring Rek'sai, the Void Burrower. The queen of the feared Rek'sai that hunt in Shurima's desert, Rek'sai is the region's apex predator. Unseen and unrelenting, Rek'sai senses distant movement and burrows beneath the surface as she moves in to butcher her prey. In-game, Rek'sai is a mobile and powerful threat who stalks her prey's movements before closing in for the kill via her tunnels. Since Rek'sai's abilities change as she's below the ground, we'll start with her W, Burrow. Burrow is a low cooldown ability that sends Rek'sai just beneath the surface, where she ignores unit collision and gains increased movement speed, but loses access to her basic attack and, most importantly, her vision. Along with different active abilities, she gains Tremor Sense, which passively reveals all enemy and neutral movement in a large area around her. Note that Tremor Sense can differentiate between enemy champions and other targets, but can only detect movement. Rek'sai cannot feel out enemies that stand still. If they stop moving, they will disappear from view. Even though she has drastically reduced vision, she can still see targets who hit her with abilities and basic attacks. Finally, even though Rek'sai is underground, she is not hidden from her opponents. They can see her just as easily as any other champion. While burrowed, Rek'sai can then unburrow with her W. As she unburrows, her vision returns to normal, but she loses her subterranean bonuses. Unburrowing beneath enemies damages them and knocks them into the air, and it knocks them higher if Rek'sai is directly beneath them. But while burrow and unburrow both enjoy low cooldowns, the same target cannot be knocked up by unburrow twice in quick succession. Stay burrowed as you move around the map. The extra movement speed will take you through your jungle faster and get you in place for ganks. Use Tremor Sense to track enemies over unwarded parts of the map. Rek'sai's passive is Fury of the Rek'sai. Rek'sai gains Fury as she deals damage with basic attacks or abilities, and loses it when she stays out of combat for an extended period. Whenever Rek'sai burrows, she starts consuming her Fury, regenerating her health. Unburrowing ends the heal, but also preserves Rek'sai's remaining Fury. Make the most of Fury of the Rek'sai by burrowing whenever you're out of combat and have Fury to burn. The regen can keep you alive in the face of damage over time abilities, and if you're clearing camps, will keep your health topped up, meaning you can carry on earning golden experience while less awesome junglers have to head back to base to heal up. Unburrowed, Rek'sai's Q is Queen's Wrath, which causes her next 3 basic attacks to deal bonus damage in an area around her. Queen's Wrath has an extremely low cooldown and resets Rek'sai's attack animation, so well-timed casts will significantly increase her damage output. Just as important, Rek'sai generates Fury from every enemy struck, making Queen's Wrath her fastest Get Mad tool. Use Queen's Wrath whenever you're fighting large camps or in teamfights. To maximize the healing from your passive, prioritize clearing the Raptors and Merkwolves. Whenever Rek'sai burrows, her Q changes to Prey Seeker, which fires a pulse of void energy in a target direction. If the pulse hits a target, it detonates, dealing area of effect damage while revealing all struck enemies. Use Prey Seeker to scout ahead as you counter jungle. Unless they're fighting, jungle monsters will not show up on your Tremor Sense radar. Firing Prey Seeker into a camp will tell you if it's occupied. While unburrowed, Rek'sai's E is Furious Bite. This single target attack deals increasing damage based on Rek'sai's Fury. At max Fury, it deals true damage to her victim. Save Furious Bite for executions so that you ramp up as much Fury as possible before using it. This way, you'll maximize your damage from the ability. And if you're contesting a valuable jungle camp, time Furious Bite with Smite for a higher chance of success. Rek'sai's burrowed E is Tunnel, a fixed distance dig in any direction that creates tunnel entrances at the dig's start and end. Once she's built a tunnel, Rek'sai, but only Rek'sai, can travel back and forth through it, slipping under obstacles and walls as she pleases. Tunnels last several minutes, but each has a unique cooldown that stops Rek'sai from ducking back and forth repeatedly. Even though Rek'sai can create tons of tunnels before she hits the cap, they aren't indestructible. Enemies can collapse tunnels by standing on them briefly. That is, unless Rek'sai's actually in it, that would just be rude. Once an enemy spots a tunnel, it'll stay on their minimap until it's stepped on or collapses on its own. Finally, Rek'sai cannot use her abilities while she's tunneling, because that would just be OP. She can smite though, that's totally fine. Use tunnels to create an immense underground network throughout the map. The huge mobility boost they provide will allow you to approach your prey from unpredictable angles. Rek'sai's ultimate is Void Rush, which has a passive and active effect. Passively, it increases Rek'sai's attack speed. Rek'sai can activate Void Rush by targeting one of her tunnels anywhere on the map. After a brief channel, she screams globally and dives underground, speeding toward the tunnel. There are a few notes worth pointing out here. First, Void Rush's initial channel will be interrupted if Rek'sai even takes damage from enemy champions or turrets, or if she's hit with any form of hard crowd control. That said, she cannot be stopped once she's actually started her dash, which takes the same amount of time regardless of how far away the targeted tunnel is. Also, though Rek'sai can use Void Rush while burrowed and unburrowed, she always emerges from her target tunnel in burrowed form. Finally, her opponents cannot see where she's headed unless they can see the tunnel exit she's headed to. Use Void Rush to quickly reposition after you respawn or recall. The global scream apparently scares the bejesus out of the enemy team here, who all back out of their dragon attempt after they hear Rek'sai ult. Whereas some counter junglers thrive on locating the enemy jungler and outright killing them in a duel, Rek'sai prefers to work from the shadows and pick unfair fights. She excels at being where the enemy jungler is not, and grabbing their camps before they're even aware of your invade. Here's a quick guide on how to turn your opposing jungler into an emotional wreck. Sai. Start by using the knowledge provided by Tremor Sense as you skirt around the edges of the enemy jungle. If there's no sign of an enemy jungler, fire a prey seeker into a camp to check for mobs. If the camp's occupied, burrow directly in before getting to work on the monster's health bars with Unburrow and Queen's Wrath. Secure the primary kill with Furious Bite before using your original tunnel to sneak back out to safety. As a hunter, Rek'sai loves to fight the enemy jungler after they've already been weakened by jungle monsters. With your tunnels established, keep an eye out for prey. If you spot them getting their butt kicked by one of their camps, like the new and improved raptors maybe, why not ult in and give them a helping hand? By which, of course, I mean kill them. Having access to more abilities than most champions makes Rek'Sai's early ganks incredibly potent, so make sure to get into lanes as soon as you've picked up your basic buffs. Here, Rek'Sai looks for the Unburrow knockup, then builds as much Fury as possible so her Furious Bite deals extra damage. Once you've hit 6, keep an eye on all the tunnels you've dug around the map for quick and safe Void Rush kills. Spotting Orianna wandering into her territory, Rek'Sai rushes to the nearest tunnel before Twisted Fate and Shen ult in for a pretty epic case of overkill. Rek'Sai is the queen of chasing down and picking off fleeing enemies, even super mobile champions like Kassadin. Most would have to give up the chase after watching him Riftwalk away, but not Rek'Sai. Using an existing tunnel before digging a new one gets her close enough for a clutch flash Unburrow. Get wrecked, Kassadin. Remember that Rek'Sai is not a super tank, and while the speed boost from tunneling can quickly get her into the enemy team, it doesn't mean much if her allies are way too far behind to support her. Here she quickly turns into Void Sushi when she chases too far. Here's Rek'Sai in her element, using her pre-placed tunnels and suite of tools to their maximum potential as her teammates deal damage from the back line. Following on Thresh's hook, Rek'Sai unburrows underneath Fizz for the knockup, forcing an early Zhonya's. But the fight turns sour, so she backs off through a pre-placed tunnel, re-engaging with a new tunnel as Shen pulls off a great taunt. Rek'Sai wants to chase here, so she burrows mid-fight, healing up with her passive as she catches up to and knocks up Shyvana. With the fight won, Rek'Sai looks for the cleanup, burrowing once more and tunneling behind Morgana before knocking her up and securing the ace. Thanks for tuning in to the Rek'Sai Champion Spotlight. Please subscribe to the Riot Games YouTube channel and leave us your comments just below the video.